Karmine Corp are a huge French esports org with a legion of fans that will normally follow them anywhere, but their Valorant team is so bad right now that their own fans are ashamed to support them. The community sees them as an absolute joke, and even their own players have left the team. But behind the comical gameplay and hilarious reactions, there's a tragic story of soul-crushing pressure and a team doomed to fail. Let's talk about it. Karmine Corp have a massive fanbase and had a Valorant team already, so they were a no-brainer for VCT, joining 9 other teams to form the Tier 1 league in Europe. Being a French team with so many French fans, it was important to the org that they had a French-speaking roster. The only problem with that, there isn't a huge amount of top-level French players. Karmine Corp already had a roster with most of the best French players on it, but they weren't at a Tier 1 level. They needed to make upgrades, but had such a small pool of talent to choose from. Luckily, there were 2 brothers fresh on the market, not from France, but from Belgium. But that meant they were French speaking, and they seemed like the solution to Karmine Corp's roster. At the time, it was the obvious move, but in reality, this may have been their biggest mistake. KC signed ScreaM and Nivera as their star duo, 2 players who had proved themselves on the biggest stage with Team Liquid and had the potential to be some of the best in the world. To round out the roster, they signed CS veteran XMS and kept Shin and Uzera from their previous team. Things were looking up, they had solid talent along with the squad that the French fans could fully get behind. At least, that's how it seemed on the surface. Remember when I said that signing ScreaM and Nivera was their biggest mistake? That's not because their individual play is bad. At their peak, they're incredible players. I said it because ScreaM wasn't signed as a head-tapping duelist star, but as an IGL. He had IGL'd Liquid for some time, but never really had convincing strat calling or team ideas on that roster. That was the worry coming in for many who had seen ScreaM's IGLing on Team Liquid. Would he actually be able to IGL this team, or would he bring them down? And Shin, Uzera and XMS, they were good in the French league, but had never played at the actual top level of Valorant, so their first time would be on the biggest stage Valorant had seen yet. These underlying issues were foreseen by some, but wouldn't show themselves until the team's first matches at VCT Lock-In.
I can't do this
Karmine Corp team is fucking trolling!
Yes,
this Karmine Corp team
actually
makes
trolling.
no sense. This Karmine Corp team has left out good francophone players and just thought, fuck it, ScreaM can IGL another team into the ground.
Lock-In was the first tournament of 2023 and Valorant franchising. Every franchise team was in attendance, and that included Karmine Corp. The tournament had a unique format where if you lost once, you were sent home, so KC would have to be flawless to take home the trophy. They got a favourable draw in the first round, matched up against arguably one of the weakest teams in attendance, FPX, the second seed from China. After trading the first 2 maps, a huge performance from Shin took them over the line and gave Karmine a 2-1 victory in their first ever match. It was a good win, but they'd go on to face Loud, the current world champions. They never really got into the match, but considering how new of a team Karmine Corp was, a 13-10 and 13-8 wasn't too bad against a team as good as Loud. Fans were happy with their team's performance, showing them huge support throughout. But despite their decent results, the cracks began to show. We saw Sideshow ranting about the Karmine Corp team earlier, but after watching their matches, he was determined to highlight every issue with Karmine Corp's play at Lock-In.
But it is slop. It is absolute slop from them. Slop, slop, slop. And Nivera's fucking AWPing this entire time as well, while ScreaM was trying to pick up a double AWP attack setup. Trolling! They are trolling! But anyway.
Over the course of one Twitch stream, he systematically went through every problem in the way they play Valorant, predicting them to have a poor performance in the upcoming split. This stream heightened the feud between Karmine Corp and Sideshow, which is still happening to this day, and the French fans were not happy. Their best response would be for KC to play well in the upcoming EMEA League, and so they eagerly waited for the opening day to prove everyone wrong. Karmine Corp versus BBL. There wasn't an overwhelming favourite in this match, considering both teams had done alright at Lock-In and had a decent roster coming in. The game was close, with the first map going to overtime, eventually going Karmine Corp's way 19-17 after 6 failed match points in a row. They almost went to OT in the second map too, but Karmine Corp took it 13-11 and the series 2-0. Again, another decent performance for KC and a 1-0 start in the league. And with their next match against arguably the worst team in the league, Team Heretics, it was very possible for them to get another W and go up 2-0. That was until the trolling started. They continued to play no duelist team comps, despite having a cracked duelist player, without even using any of their extra utility effectively, or any utility effectively for that matter. Heretics played pretty standard Valorant, but unforced errors meant that KC lost Icebox 13-5. Icebox wasn't the worst part though, that came on map 2, Split.
XMS can pick up this rifle and just leave. XMS just walk backwards and pick up the rifle. ScreaM can't buy, just walk backwards and pick up the rifle. He's gonna survive instead of going and picking up the rifle that ScreaM needs in the next. I cannot believe it. Here comes Zeke. Zeke can't overphase. But there's only 30 seconds left. They could pivot to B. They could pivot to B. A pivot B here would be so good. A pivot B here would be so good, Karmine Corp.
Oh my god.
Run B, motherfuckers! The guy that flanked you from mid or B is dead. You had 35 seconds to rotate. You know that there's going to be an A stack. Where are you going? There's 15 seconds! Where are you going? You can't go B now!
Mixwell decides to come back through on CT, but
Time?
They need to get a move on still.
Time!
Okay.
Time!
The shot, but I was getting dangerously close to running out of
He's not
time.
got it. He's not got it.
What?
There's no time on the defuse, Lauren.
You fucking melons! My eyes! My eyes! Rip them out! May an eagle pluck my eyes out!
This was the map that confirmed everyone's worst fears about Karmine Corp. 13-2 it finished, with an embarrassing last round. They were constantly running out of time on their attacking side, and ScreaM's IGLing simply didn't work. This was a bad game from them, but everyone has an off day, right? The French fans still believed in their team to recover for next week's match against Liquid, despite this dismal scoreline. But the last thing they expected was to have to relive it.
They should already be popping A heaven. They've missed their timing already. There's 25 seconds, and you're still faking B heaven. There's 20 seconds! 15, 14, 13. Oh my god, they're so slow. And now there's two players here. It's so fucking molding.
Talk about the breach. How good is it for re-clearing the space here? Although I don't think.
Oh no, they're still gonna lose this round, aren't they? Oh, both of their B main players died because they didn't take B main control at any point in the round after Redgar died. Redgar literally died, and they didn't take B main control. And now Yampi's gonna ace. What am I witnessing?
He's gonna have to abandon it, and he's got a backstab coming.
This is a tragedy. This is gonna be the first round. This is the first round. This is the first round.
Yes, ult after ult after ult. Throw them all out.
Oh no! Oh no! Yampi got two. They're gonna swing pillar. What the fuck? It's another 5v3 loss! Another 5v3 loss with an ace from Yampi! Another 3v5 ace from Yampi!
It was somehow worse than we expected. 12-0. It looked as though they'd somehow gotten worse since the previous week, constantly throwing away rounds that should have been guaranteed, and they were on the verge of getting 13-0'd. Could they at least take the pistol and keep some respect from the community?
And Soulcast in a 1v3? Let's go! Let's fucking go! My team! My team! 13-12! Wait, they can't win 13-12. 14-12! 12 is all they get! Let's go!
Okay, so they got the pistol round, but why is Nevera not buying?
He didn't buy! He forgot to buy with 3,500 credits because he took his headphones off!
Yep, you heard that right. And the ironic part is that he uses his classic from not buying to clutch this 1v1 at the end of the second round. Like, what? Eventually, they lost 13-2 again on Split, humiliated by a team who many thought they had a chance against. This was where KC began to be seen as a complete joke, which wasn't helped by the incredible reactions to their trolling by Sideshow. But the scariest part of it all for French fans, the players seemed to have no idea how to fix it. And those fans? There are a lot of them. And when you have a lot of passionate fans with high expectations of you and you underperform drastically, that support you get, it goes the opposite way. The immense pressure from a fanbase like Karmine Corp can completely crush players who aren't performing, and it seemed like with every match the team played, their confidence lessened and lessened. Not only that, but in-game, the problems with ScreaM's overall Valorant philosophy had completely overridden the team. They weren't changing team comps or solving any of the issues that led them to lose so badly in the Heretics and Liquid games. And plus, there's no transfer window this year for VCT, so they couldn't get any new players or a new IGL before the end of the season. The next game against Vitality felt like that final chance for them to put up a decent performance before people started completely giving up on them. And they did change something. ScreaM moved over to the duelist role for both maps in this series, but it didn't help. Another 13-2, another terrible map of Split, and another abysmal performance. At this point, Karmine Corp had won an average of 3.7 rounds a map. Fans were turning away from the team as it seemed impossible for them to make it to the playoffs. They still had Na'Vi, Foot, Giants and Fnatic left to play. It didn't seem like it could get any worse, but somehow it did. Remember that crushing pressure I talked about? It's not simple to deal with, and it can very easily become too much mentally on a player. Thousands of people constantly berating you for playing badly in a video game, and those are the people who are supposed to be supporting you. Not only that, but when the entire community treats your team like a joke, tuning in just to watch them get destroyed and for you to make bad plays, it gets hugely demoralizing. And it became too much for Newsera, one of the players particularly underperforming on the team, and as a result, before their match against Na'Vi, he requested to step down, which left them with only 4 players. To make things even worse, they still couldn't sign any new players because of the roster log, so were forced to sub in their assistant coach Zesh as their 5th. At this point, the team has completely crumbled. If there was no hope before for Karmine Corp, somehow there's even less hope now. It would take an absolute miracle for them to even win a single match in the league at this point, let alone make it to the playoffs. I could have waited until the end of the season to make this video, but the point isn't just to say how bad they are, that's been done enough already. Karmine Corp might be Valorant's worst team, but it's not like they haven't tried. Every post-match tweet from these players showed that they're doing everything they can, but in a system doomed to fail, with the misjudged expectations of an entire nation weighing on you, it's almost impossible to live up to them. We've all laughed at Karmine Corp, but when you look at what their players have been through, you realise they probably don't need laughing at anymore. I've been Commend, please do subscribe if you enjoyed this video, check out my other stuff for more like this, and thanks for watching.